What do you think the most widespread disease in the world is? The answer to that might shock you. The answer to that would be something extremely unexpected that nobody would see coming. We're talking about herpes. Herpes is probably one of the most widespread diseases in the entire world. You, the viewer, at least one of you, probably has this disease. According to WHO, the World Health Organization, worldwide, over 3.7 to 3.5 billion people in the world are infected with herpes simplex 1. And another 500 million, that's 500 million people, are infected with herpes simplex 2. That's the herpes that affects your no-nose square. Now this leads us to the question of, how did humans acquire both of these diseases? How were they transmitted, and why are they so prevalent throughout the world? Why is more than half the world's population infected with this disease? So here are the strange prehistoric origins of herpes. Humanity is plagued by two separate herpes viruses. This would be herpes simplex 1, oral herpes that affects your mouth. The next is herpes simplex 2. These are genital herpes. These affect your no-nose square. Herpes are so prevalent because they can be transferred from mother to offspring. This is called vertical transmission. These two herpes viruses are nothing new to humanity. In fact, these viruses are very, very old. They can be found deep within inside our lineages. In order to fully understand how we got this far, we need to roll the clock back. "10,000 years? This is how far this thing can go back? I thought it was going to go back way farther than that." Well, we need to go back to 6 million years. This is looking better. 6 million years before present. Humanity as we know it doesn't even exist yet. This is rate 1 humanity split with our last common ancestor, chimpanzees. These guys are to blame why we got herpes simplex 1. They passed it down to us evolutionarily. Herpes simplex 1 is a remnant disease passed along from our primate ancestors. And we humans have been living with it for over 6 million years. Humans are not the only primates affected with herpes viruses. In fact, almost every living primate has some sort of herpes virus. For example, in our primate cousin, the capuchin monkey, they get herpes virus B, and this could be very deadly to humans if it were to somehow be transmitted to them. In macaques, they get monkey virus B. This is a form of herpes. And countless other primate species have their own. Great apes are not unscathed from this. Orangutans have Pognine gamma herpes virus 2. All the other great apes, gorillas, bonobos, chimpanzees have their own viruses too. But humanity is a little special. We're the only primates that have 2 separate strains of herpes viruses. Once again, we can blame one of our ancestors. This is where things get a little interesting. How did we get herpes simplex 2? As I said before, we're the only primates that have 2 different strains of herpes viruses. If you have herpes simplex 2, you can thank Homo erectus for that. Homo erectus evolved in Africa over 2 million years ago. During this time frame, Africa is a hotbed for hominin activity, and our ancestor came into contact with a lot of them, multiple different species of hominin. So that means it's a hotbed for diseases. Homo erectus probably came into contact with our upright walking cousins, Australopiths, specifically the species Australopithecus afarensis. Australopiths are integral to human evolution. Homo erectus also came into contact with other species of humans, specifically Homo rudolfensis. They appeared in Africa around similar times. But what we need to focus on is another one of our cousins, Paranthropus boisei, that also existed 2 million years ago in Africa. They look more similar to our cousins, Australopiths. But they're very different. They're characterized by their round dish-like face and their massive, powerful jaws, so much so that they were nicknamed the Nutcracker Man. They use their powerful jaws to feed on things like roots and tubulars. These guys were also bipedal, grazing upon the savannas of Africa 2 million years ago. So now the question is, how does this all come together? I'm glad you asked, dear viewer. Herpes simplex 2 is more closely related to that of chimp herpes. The two viruses split around 3 million to 1.4 million years ago. So now how do we get it? It's thought that Homo erectus probably ate Paranthropus boisei, which was infected with chimp herpes and just turned into herpes simplex 2. There is a possibility that maybe they got a little freaky deaky, but the most likely option is that, they were hunted or scavenged. All you need for this disease to transfer is a little cut on your hand, a little gash in your mouth, and it's over. All they need to do is eat some infected flesh, get a little blood on their hands, something, and they got the disease. And so, this is my long-winded explanation on why humans have herpes. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool.